Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 20th of February 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, a few of the technical setups here as always. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, before we before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So yep guys, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab where you can find some useful information. Right. Now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the Footsie 100. Now it is a very messy chart. Last time we looked at it, or should I say I looked at it, it was kind of moving in the right direction according to plan, but then everything kind of got violated. So basically, let's start from the beginning on this one. So for now, overall, it's kind of still trading above this medium-term upside support line taken from the low the 3rd of October. So in a way, as long as this line remains intact, we will continue aiming to the upside in the medium term. But of course, given that we had some sharp declines here, the index drifted lower, tested this area here, the 7,357 zone, from which it rebounded, and now it's pushing back to the upside again. So again, we had previously drawn this downside line here taken from the high of the 17th of January, but to be honest, we'll get rid of it, because what we're going to focus now mainly is on some key areas of support and resistance. So basically, from the very short-term perspective, if this continues to push higher, given the fact that it already is trying to make its way above all of its EMAs here on the 4-hour chart, and if it succeeds in doing that and travels further north, still for us to get a little bit excited about the upside, a push above this barrier here, the 7,550 zone, would be needed. So let me just quickly mark this one for our future reference. Oh, not this one. There we go, right here. So that's basically our comfort zone, basically, from which we could consider slightly higher levels. Yes, don't get me wrong, it may push a little bit higher here, but now this, of course, this index really depends on how the British pound is performing. So if the pound is sliding, then the Footsie is kind of performing slightly better. Now, in terms of the downside here, you can see that this barrier, although it was violated a few times here, the 7,428 zone, yesterday acted as a nice, good intraday swing low here. So from which the index rebounded and made its way a little bit higher. So in a way, we could keep an eye on this one just for the sake of it, the 7,428 zone. So in a way, if we do get a drop below this, then well, we will then aim for this low, this key area of support near the 7,357, and a break of which could open the door towards the slide towards this medium-term upside support line that I've mentioned previously. So something to keep an eye on, guys. Again, like I said, with the upside, for us to get comfortable with the upside, we need to see a push above this 7,550 zone. I do understand it's quite a bit of a move here, but to be honest, we'd rather be safe than sorry. But if you want to try to find a potential obstacle here, maybe you could look at this area here near the 7,473 territory, because That's basically the high of the 14th of February. A nice good push above this would also place the price above the 100 EMA on the 4-hour chart, and could in a way increase Footsie's chances to drift higher. But again, as I said, still all this territory is a bit of a tricky one for us, so that's why we're keeping an eye on this one here. CAC 40. Now I don't look at this one very often, but try to pick up on this one if there is a nice interesting up technical setup here, and well, straight away you can see what I'm going to be talking about here. So basically, after the index reversed from this little territory right here near the 6,040 zone, it traveled higher, and yesterday it kind of ended the day around this 6,110 territory. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. We'll keep an eye on that level, because if it gets broken, then well, I mean, this is where it could become very interesting for the buyers. And by the way, looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the index is just fractionally below this barrier, so that means that there is a possibility still for this one to drift further north. But as I said, we'll keep an eye on this barrier, the 6,110 zone. A nice good pop above this could lead towards higher levels. And if you're wondering if this is the all-time high, still this is not the all-time high, but this is where we are right now, and we're very close to this barrier here. And let me just put this one on the chart. There we go. So near the 6,168 territory, we're very close to that one. That's basically the highest point of June of 2007. So this is the peak where we were before we kind of had this nice crash, I would say. So I'm not saying anything, guys, but just be very careful here. Let's see if it can reach this area, or even maybe it could overcome, because the all-time high for this CAC 40 is 6,945 area, roughly around there. That was reached in 2000 in September 2000. So again, guys, something to keep an eye on, something to consider. But for now, let's keep it short and simple. Let's go jump back into a 4-hour chart, and yep, keep your eyes on the 6,110 zone. If it gets a break, then well, I mean, this could lead towards that 6,168 zone that I talked about. Bitcoin Cash. I looked at this one this week, and basically I was looking at this one yesterday as well. So what I was talking about in the beginning of the week, that we may see a bit of a correction here, but if it struggles to push back above this upside support line, then we could see another round of selling, which perfectly worked out, and we're seeing now a nice good slide here. Now what I was also saying, that for those who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait for a drop below this little territory here, this little key area of support near the 3,600 and sorry, 3,363. There we go. So this is the level that we're going to be keeping an eye on, and a nice good drop below this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and well, it could lead towards these levels here that we saw in the around January time, and around the end of January, near the psychological 300 level. But again, for now, guys, all eyes are on this little obstacle here. In terms of the upside, well, we're gonna keep the same scenario. We need to see a push back above the 457 zone in order to get comfortable with higher levels. Unless this suddenly starts pushing back sharply to the upside here, maybe we will consider this area, the 428 territory, but like I said, we will reevaluate this crypto again if it reaches this 428 zone. So let's keep an eye on that one. But for now, we are leaning more towards the downside. But again, to get a little bit more comfortable with the downside, we need to see a drop below the 363. There we go. Something's wrong with my numbers today. Okay. AUDUSD. Now, I looked at this one this week as well, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier, this hurdle near the 0.6668. So yes, we finally managed to get a drop below this, and this, of course, led to a break of the 0.6658 zone and the 0.6642 level. But as you can see, it did break it, but quickly the bulls pushed the rate back above it. So in a way, this is what we're going to be keeping an eye on, a close eye on. And let me just jump into a daily chart on this one, just to show you what that level was here in the past, and if I'll have enough history to go to on a daily chart. And no, probably that's going to be a weekly chart. So yes, so basically that's you can see that this was let me just zoom in here, guys, a little bit. This is the area that we're keeping an eye on. Let me just wait. Let me just double check here something. So this was the probably maybe it's easier going to be on the daily chart, but okay, monthly chart. I'm gonna go through all of them until I'm gonna find the right zone here. So okay, guys, so for some reason this has skewed a little bit, but what we could look at here, and let me just probably adjust it. So yes, of course, currently the pair is getting a hold up near this little territory, near this one right here, but we're gonna keep an eye on this one. Of course, don't get me wrong, you might actually pick up on the low here, the today's low, this morning's low, which was around the 0.6627. So probably let's look at this one from scratch now. Where yes, the levels that I was looking to kind of to have a look at, these were the areas that I was interested in. So basically these are the lows of February and the lows of and some levels here in March of 2009. So again, of course, if it continues to drift lower, this is the area of our interest. We're going to be these levels here, which we saw in as I said, in January, February, and March of 2009. So again, we'll reevaluate that. If we see that slide below the today's low here. But as you can see, after reaching the 0.6627 zone, the pair really kind of bounced back. Of course, don't get me wrong, the overall trend is still to the downside, but given that it is already quite a little bit overstretched here to the downside, maybe we could see a bit of a correction here and a push back higher. I will pick up on this pair, guys, in my trader's tea time again. I'll try to find some better levels underneath, but again, for now, for today, for example, be very careful, because we already had a decent slide to the downside here, from which it and where it tested the 0.6627 zone, from which it rebounded. So that's why be very careful. We may get another drop here, but the big question here is, can it actually overcome this level? So yep, something that I will try to pick up on during my trader's tea time as well. GBPCAD, very quick update on this. Yesterday I talked about it, and I started off in the morning in my Espresso, where I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little obstacle near the 1.7181, which got broken perfectly. So that increased kind of the chances of drifting further south. And during my trader's tea time, the rate was balancing around here. But what I was saying, that we will be targeting this 1.7111 zone, which is the low of the 10th of February. And if that gets broken, then yep, further declines are possible, but we will reevaluate this again. So basically, we got a nice slide here. We got a drift below the 1.7181, below the 1.7111, and now the next target that we're keeping in mind here is around here. Now, this little obstacle, You just put this on the chart. So this little obstacle around the 1.7035 zone could in a way provide a bit of support from which the overstretched pair here could rebound a little bit, and it could rebound, it could correct back up, but if it, let's say, struggles to push back above the 1.7111, then we could see another round of selling, potentially bypassing this 1.7035 and targeting the low here of this one, the low of the 20th of 20th of January, and that's around the 1.6939 zone. But again, for now, guys, be very careful. Yes, we could see a further drift south here, but be sharp around the 1.7035. Let's see if it can hold, if it can actually force the pair to rebound maybe a little bit, and then if it struggles to push above the 1.7111, then we could see another round of selling. So in other words, the scenario that we're looking at here could be something off like this. Now, in terms of the upside, of course, we can get rid of this upside line. Now it's no longer valid, it got violated. So what we're going to focus mainly here on is this little obstacle, the 1.7181 zone, which previously acted as good support. Now it could take the role of resistance, which, if broken, could lead towards higher levels, because it would also place the rate above its 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, maybe the 100 EMA as well, but we'll have a look at that one then. But this is the obstacle for us for the upside. USDJPY, very quick update on this one, and look at this massive explosion here. So yesterday I talked about this one in my traders espresso and then tea time. During the tea time, we were hanging around here, and what I was saying, that if it holds below this, then below this 110.67 zone, then, well, we could see a bit of a correction here and a move lower, where it could rebound maybe from the 110.29 and then push to the upside again. But what I was also saying, that if this fails to stay below this, then yep, this could lead towards further higher levels. Now it managed to do exactly that. This morning we saw a bit of a correction here, where the pair tested this 111.08 zone, and from which it rebounded and pushed higher. For now, what we're looking here for is, and probably let me jump into a daily chart on this one, because all the levels are have better visibility here on the daily chart. So if we get a nice good push above this the high of yesterday, and that's around the 111.59 zone, a nice good push above this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, we could aim then for this little obstacle here. Let me just put this one on the chart, the 111.70 zone. So I do understand it's only about 10 pips away, but keep your eyes on this obstacle, keep your eyes on this barrier, because if it holds, we could see a bit of a correction here, and then maybe a drift lower. But if it fails to withhold, then, well, our main target here for now is going to be this 112.40 zone, which is the highest point of April 2019, guys. So a very good, interesting obstacle here, but the main question here is, can it overcome the yesterday's high, and can it overcome the 111.70 zone as well? So if it can, then yes, we'll start considering this 112.40. If it cannot, then, well, hope for a bit of a correction here. But as you can see now, it is popping higher here already. So basically, on these words, the pair is pushing above its yesterday's high, but the big question here is around this 111.70. Keep your eyes on that one. In terms of the downside, well, to be honest, I mean, this is an interesting one, of course, but we'll consider the downside if we get a drop below this area here. Let me just quickly put this one right here. So if we get a drop below this 110.29 zone, and then yes, we will aim for slightly lower levels. For now, it's all to the upside, but let's see how it's going to perform around some of these barriers that I mentioned. EURCHF, very quickly on this. continues to drift lower while trading below this downside resistance line. Take it from the high of the 13th of December. To be honest, it's at the same as it is interesting. At the same time, it is also kind of a bit worrying. For now, of course, the only thing which you can do here is keep your eyes on this barrier here, this support area near the 1.0606 level. I spoke about this in one of my videos recently, where I was telling you guys we need to see a drop below this territory before considering lower areas. Oh. Not this one, that's not what I wanted to draw. So basically just an arrow here. If we get a break below this 1.0606, then yes, we will aim for lower levels, because this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, further declines are possible. In terms of the upside, we need to see a break of at least of this downside line before considering higher levels. But to get a little bit more comfortable with a bit of correction to the upside, a push above the 1.0650 could do the trick here for more buyers. So keep your eyes on that one. And finally, EURUSD. So with this one, I mean, you did break this downside line finally, but again, some of you might say maybe you need to draw it this way here, so it's in just capturing this little high. But to be honest, it was perfectly balancing below that line. So in a way, we can actually now we'll keep this for just illustrative purposes, but to be honest, this line is becoming less valid because we get these little pops here. So in a way, like I said, for now we'll keep this downside line, but I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it, because the main focus will be now on the this level here, the 1.0777 zone, which previously, if you remember, I've mentioned this level. And that's basically the low here of the high of 20th of April 2017, guys. So let me just capture this one. Yeah. So wait one moment. Again, this is what happens when you go back into history, into levels which I have not seen in like a couple of years, basically. So the 1.0777, that's basically the high of the 20th of April, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. If that gets broken, then well, next levels to consider are the high of the the high of the 21st of April 2017, and that's roughly around the that's around 1.0738 zone, and if that fails to withhold, the 1.0682 zone could be met. So again, for now, let's get back into the chart here. So for now, yes, it continues to drift lower. It seems that it wants to slide further south, but again, given the fact that it's quite overstretched here to the downside, even on the daily chart, we'll be very careful, and we'll just go step by step on this one. So if it gets a drop below this 1.0777, then yep, we will aim for that 1.0738 level that I mentioned earlier. In terms of the upside, we would like to see this one pushing. And looking at this daily chart, by the way, we would like to see a push above today's high near the 1.0815 in order to maybe start considering a potential correction here to the upside. For now, we're more bearish than bullish, but we're taking right now everything with a pinch of salt. So because we are quite overstretched to the downside, so a bit of correction at some point could be possible. Let's see if it happens this week, but from the technical side, we need to see a push above the 1.0815 zone in order to start considering the upside. So keep your eyes on that one. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching until the end. I do apologize for running a little bit over my time, but I hope you enjoyed it. And yep, if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, as always, 14:15 GMT. For now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later at 14:15 GMT, my traders tea time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.